Hello, savvy listeners. I am excited you are taking the time to invest in yourself today. Savvy, the business podcast, will show you how your daily habits can create your own platform. Experts will share solutions and efficient tips to create a roadmap just for you. One thing that can make this happen: change your habits, change your success. Welcome to Savvy, the business podcast. Hello, everyone. You are here with Melissa Amber, Savvy the Business Podcast. Thank you again for coming on and joining us. As always, we'd like to bring entertainment to you, but most of all, business as a resource. And everyone we talk to has some type of point, tips, solutions, or something that you walk away with. So we have today Miss LaVina Nichols, and she is in the music industry. I'm going to read you a little bit of her bio. LaVina is a singer-songwriter with a powerhouse song. She is a multifaceted force to be reckoned with. She is best known for her role as opening act for Grammy Award-winning performer Gloria Gaynor. LaVina's new single, Trust, is infused with gospel roots and highlights her diverse vocal range. LaVina Nichols is also an actress and community advocate. I believe people hear hope when they hear my song. She's been fighting all of her life to use her voice. She was born with a cleft palate, which means she was born with a hole in the roof of her mouth that could have negatively affected her voice and the way of life. So we're going to get into a discussion with Miss LaVina Nichols about her journey as a gospel artist, her journey as, going through the surgery, overcoming the cleft lip and all of that, and just talk about some business things. So thank you again, LaVina, for coming on and joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about, how did you get into, wanting to sing gospel? A lot of people want to sing and they may go R&B and they kind of, go bouncing forth. So what made you decide to go gospel?
It's definitely been a part of my life since I was a little girl, raised in a Christian household. Come from a family of entertainers and singers. My father being the biggest musical influence in my life, and he sang in church, and so it was just kind of like a natural progression for me to continue. I love God, and as a little girl, I was like, I just want to do whatever I got to do to please God, and and to spread hope and love, and that's how I was as a little kid. And so it just was a natural thing. So I love all kinds of music. I'm a very diverse singer, but you can always hear, gospel in anything that I sing, like just the tones and everything like that. So it's always been a part of me.
Wow. Well, with, going into gospel and, can you tell us a little bit about your journey to get in the business? A lot of people see people performing, or they're in the mic, they're dressed up, they're pretty, they got makeup, hair, all of the glamour part of it. Let's talk about some of that other side that people don't see to, get to that point.
Yeah, it's definitely a different atmosphere just singing in the church and singing around your town. There's a big business side of it, and if you don't know the business side of it, it can get very intimidating, and you can get lost in it. And so it's definitely been a journey. Before it was just I just love to do it. This is what I want to do. But when you say I want to put music out and I want it to be heard in as many places as possible, you have to do it the professional way, and you have to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, your business, your LLC, things are, taken care of so that you don't get taken advantage of. You have to know split sheets and know that if you're working with people, they're going to need to have credit, and you need to make sure that, that their ducks are in a row, that their business is taken care of so that there's no problems at the end. And it's very easy to have friends in the business and meet people who are like, I'm going to help you, I'm going to do this. And you realize that if your business is not done in the beginning, it can get very nasty and very sticky at the end, and it can halt a lot of stuff. And so I've learned in my journey, make sure you have your business right. Make sure you kind of vet the people that you're working with so that you can try to eliminate as many problems as possible.
Wow, that's excellent advice. And a lot of people, they're so fast to get in the industry. I want to get on, I want to make money, I want to do all these things. With everything that you just said, what would you say to someone that, everything just pretty much falls in their lap? It seems right. They think they've done the due diligence and, checked everything, but it's coming fast. And I know sometimes for some people it just happens that way. But what would you say to someone who's like, okay, hold on, pump your brakes. I know you want to get there, but hold on.
I would say just, if it's falling in their lap, that's amazing. That's a blessing because that does not happen. A lot of people, it does seem like it happened overnight for them, but you realize they've been putting out music for a long time and it didn't just fall in their lap. But for someone that it just fell in their lap, I would say make sure you have good people around you that you can trust, people who have your best interests at heart, and that take you take everything that's coming, you take it and you enjoy the journey, but you take a moment to slow it down and just do a double check of making sure your business is right, making sure that who owns what of you, who owns your masters, who owns, like, if you sign a contract, will you have to owe people at the end? Are you getting an advance? Because if you
Mm.
get a record label, there's some things that you may not realize. It might seem like, oh my gosh, they just gave me a big advance, and I'm rich, but if you don't read that fine print, if you don't have lawyers that have your best interests at heart, you could owe at the end. And nobody wants to be, some of these horror stories that we've heard in the industry where you think people are on the top of their game. It looks like they have the best of the best, and you realize they are broke and being, audited by IRS. So you want to take a moment to make sure that everything is okay, which means you're going to have your own people looking over stuff, that and make sure they have your best interest at heart.
Where can a person start if they may have the voice, the talent, they may even have know how to do their own music, all of that good stuff, but they are stuck and they're not sure where to go to, find that good resource to understand those contract terms, the 360
Right.
deals, all those type of things. Where's a place that they can turn to start trying to figure out some of that?
If they don't have friends and family that are already somewhat connected to the industry, there are creative groups all over the place, and they're popping up even more where creatives are getting together and providing resources for each other. There are arts lawyers that will do pro bono type work for struggling artists who just, don't want to get lost in the sauce. And so I would say reach out to some of the creative organizations and nonprofit organizations that are constantly pumping the community with free resources or very cheap resources that will allow them to learn about the business. Like I tell every young mentee, learn about the business. So if you're in school, learn about the business. But if you're already out of school, try to tap into those resources that are in your community. And if you have to go to a bigger city that has those type of things, just try to tap into those resources so you can be around a community of artists who are in it, and they can start to give you advice on, hey, I've worked with this lawyer, hey, I've worked with this PR, place, and they're good people. That's a good way to start.
Wow, that's an excellent tip for someone that wants to get in the business. And I hope whoever's listening to this and you're like, oh, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this. Be sure that you're opening your ears and just not your eyes. And well, let me take that back. Have everything open, but really, focusing on it. Because sometimes our ears are open and we just hear the money part, the glamour part, the producer, studio. We hear those highlighted words, but we don't hear everything that's in between and behind that. So when you're listening, listen for everything and not just the good things that you want to hear. Um, so tell us about your story going through the cliff lip. And a lot of people, they look at that as a bad thing. They get teased, bullied. I mean, numerous things that can happen to a person. But for you to not only have it, go through it, have the surgery, recover, and still able to freely talk about it without it being that thing we want to shy away from. Can you tell us about that story?
So it definitely is something where when I just talking to my mom, I was like, I knew growing up I had a hole in my mouth. And so when I would go to the dentist, they would always address those things. But I was like, what is the backstory of it? Because a lot of the surgeries happened when I was really little, so I don't remember them. And so what I had was the cleft palate, which means I had a hole in the roof of my mouth, and then there's something on the side of my mouth that I would feel. I didn't have the cleft lip, which a lot of people know the cleft lip, which connects to someone's nose and their lip, and you see the outward. I had the inward thing, which means I had surgeries to close it up, and I had to have cast on my arms when I was a little kid to make sure that I didn't infect it, put my hands in my mouth. But growing up, I met a lot of children. I go to the Children's Hospital here in Philadelphia, and I would see people who had the cleft lip, and I understood like that. I have it, but I don't have it that severe, and just the testimony of how God kept me from having that, because that would have changed the tone of my voice if I did have that. But I'm glad that the surgeries were successful, and I was able to, I went through speech classes to make sure that, I sounded things right, and that my vowels and things started to sound normal, having that. But it was just kind of like an eye-opening a thing, like, things could have been a lot different for me if the surgeries didn't go well, and I didn't have, a mother and father that was advocating to make sure that things were taken care of when I was young, and I didn't have to experience too many issues when I was younger, because I think it adds extra teeth, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens. But it was an experience, and I'm like, okay, it's a part of my journey, and it shows from an early age, what I've been fighting to make sure that I use my voice.
Wow, that's amazing, and congratulations for going through that and being able to share your story. Because like you explained the difference of the lip being pretty much the external of, and
Yeah.
then but you had the internal piece, so it wasn't as visual as the lip, but at the same time you still had that knowing that it was there and the insecurities and things, but at the same time, educate me, help me to understand what this is, what's going on.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because in elementary school, I remember, like, is something wrong with me that I got to go to speech class? And I'm sure a lot of people had to go to speech class, and I'm thinking everything is fine, but apparently there was something there that I'm grateful that I was put in the right environment that you can't tell. Like, if people would never assume that I dealt with those type of things in my childhood. And I'm really grateful to the educators and my parents for, making sure that I was put in the right environment to cultivate, what was to come.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story.
Oh,
Um, do you think COVID has anything to do with your singing career? I know there's not a lot of public things happening now, and so many people are turning virtual. I'm starting to hear about the drive-in concerts, drive-in comedy shows. How has it impacted you?
it's impacted me tremendously because I started the process for putting the song out at the beginning of March. And so we were set to go into the studio by the end of March and put the song out, and just everything got halted. And we tried to make do with Zoom meetings with my producers. I had gigs lined up that had nothing to do with the single, but just as a singer, we're always singing. We're always, having opportunities where people are asking us to come out and do things, and everything got canceled. So I'm just like, okay, how am I going to, continue singing? Because I just like to encourage people. And I'm like, okay, this is a really bad time that we're going through, and I can't sing. I'm grateful that my church provided opportunities, for us to just, worship and have those type of things. But outside of church, everything got shut down. My music got shut down. And I'm grateful that I had a producer that was like, no, we're going to keep working. We're going to get this Zoom together. We're going to find software that allows us to play music in real time so we can work on the lyrics and work on the music, so that when we are able to get in the studio, we are able to put it out really quickly, get in, get out. And that's what happened. I'm a part of some creative communities within the South Jersey, Philadelphia area. And so we just kept each other encouraged and really, provided opportunities. We created virtual opportunities where we could sing, and people started to open up and say, okay, well, we could do virtual concerts. We can do virtual,
Right.
sessions with kids and things like that. And so we learned that we might not be face to face, but we can still do our thing. And it's still a transition, because everyone is still getting used to the new normal.
Right.
But it took a hit for a minute. I think we're bouncing back and realizing what we can do now.
I think 2020 just wasn't a good year for so many different reasons this year.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was, someone said maybe 2 or 3 months ago, we was talking, and it's like a reset button. I'm like, that's so true.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
forced everybody, I mean, literally the world globally, to stop, sit, reset, think, look at your surroundings. And because we've gotten in a place to where we just on the move, 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 we're on the cell phones, we're on planes, we're doing all these different things. And nobody would take the time to really sit, because we're just trying to make things happen. And it made it literally, I mean, you would think, okay, I'm an adult, you're not gonna make me sit down and stay in my house, but you know I say, you know what, sometimes we say, God, you a comedian, you real funny, but
Real fun.
man, I'm like, you are a comedian, man. But it's one of the things that we were forced to sit and reflect. And it has made a lot of people refocus, work, concentrate on some of the things. For you, you probably did a lot more writing, or so it had an effect on a lot of people in that sense. But then we have some people that just sit stagnant, like, oh well, I can't do nothing. Oh well, but it's like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really happy for the people who were able to reinvent themselves. Like, I know a lot of DJs that started doing virtual, DJ things, which is like, it's different when you don't have a whole party in front of you trying to find that vibe. I've seen a lot of them, figure it out and find the vibe. I feel like if without this time at home, I probably wouldn't have been able to put as much energy in it if I had to go into work and do all these other things. So it allowed me to be as creative as I wanted to be. As much time as I wanted to invest in it, I could have. And I'm grateful for that. I know some musicians that went into the studio with them when we were able to get in. And I said, so, what's been going on with you guys? They said, we wrote about 80 songs. I said, you wrote 80 songs during
Wow.
this time? But some people, this has been a blessing for them, and they've been able to be as creative as they have desired to be. So I applaud anyone who's been able to take advantage of this situation as best as they could.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, we're gonna shift a little bit now. In addition to COVID and all this other things going on, we have the whole Black Lives Matter, and recently the decision. It's hard to even say that the decision that was made not to arrest these officers that shot Breonna Taylor. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand that. That just doesn't make sense. But you're going to charge them for shooting into somebody else's apartment when they were in the wrong, regardless of who because someone did an interview that she used to date a drug dealer. She was involved. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. Yes, it might be true, but this girl was in her bed sleeping. She was working. She was trying to do it honestly. Didn't do no robbing. She done drug raid. I mean, it's just wow. It's almost like you don't know what to say. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a hard thing to swallow. Like, we just keep on, we're getting hit with so much right now.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the racial injustices that are happening right now, it's just a hard pill to swallow consistently. We just keep getting bombarded with, the death of George Floyd, Rayshon Brooks. Like, it's just like, how many more times do we have to keep hearing from the United States, the powers that be, that we're not as important, as, we believe that we are as children of God. We believe, a lot of us believe that, we're all created equal. We all have these rights, but we keep hearing time and time again, that's not really true. I think it's important that we as a people, that we educate ourselves. A lot of us never knew who our politicians were in the area. We never knew any of those things. We never cared to know about it because it wasn't really important to us. And I feel like as a community, we have to be more vigilant on knowing the laws, knowing what's happening in our communities, getting more involved. I'm a part of the Urban League of Philadelphia. So these are things that I think of, but I think as a whole, when we know who's in office and we know what they stand for, we'll understand the rulings and the things that are happening, why it's happening. And so it's important that we get out and vote. It's important that we know the laws. I am not going to profess to know the law like that or to know everything, but I'm learning more about what probable cause means. And probable cause means that she was killed because she was a part of something, old information that the detectives submitted, and they said that, they included her in this. And whether she was involved or not, whether they did the update or not, her death was the part of, we have probable cause to believe that she is involved in this. And so that ultimately gives them a license to kill. And so it's like, we can do as much as we can to avoid being a part of bad situations. It seems like she was a part of a really bad relationship, and he was doing some things. She got out of it, and sorry to say, nobody checked up to make sure that, hey, she has a new boyfriend that she's living with. It seems like they're doing everything on the up and up. And so it's just about knowing the laws, knowing what we can do when things like this happen, besides protesting, because we need to really change. And it would be nice if we can change the Constitution, because the Constitution was written before electricity happened. So I think that if it happened before electricity, maybe we should revise some things, but that takes us all, being on the same page that change needs to happen. And so I just feel like we need to educate ourselves. We need to get out and vote, and learn about what's happening in our communities, on a local sector.
Right. Well, I mean, like a lot of the laws was written they're like so old. I don't know if you remember the young man with the Crown Act that, I mean, he was a good student. He made his grade. He came to school. He was not a troubled kid. I could kind of still live if he was a troubled kid and caused issues, but he was not a troubled kid. And the only thing you had against this child is that he had locks. You didn't want him to graduate high school because of a hairstyle. I remember when I was in school, nobody didn't care about your hair. Sometimes they didn't care how you came to school. You just get here and you do your lesson. But again, we didn't have the sagging pants and all of that back in the day. But still, I'm like, he did everything you asked him to do. And now, okay, you got these locks, we don't like your locks. Really? Them locks are not, it's just hard to believe that they would take a law, a rule, or whatever they want to call it, back, centuries old. It's crazy. So would that be also part of your community advocacy? Because you say you're a part of that. Is that some of the things, or what direction do you go with that?
So prior to this, I was more of just bringing the community together to help people. So I would bring resources together. A part of what I do in my 9 to 5 is just bringing resources to the community to help people be their best self. So whether that's bringing educational resources to students or bringing resources to seniors to make sure that they could have a supplemental income. That's what I was about before that, going into shelters and bringing resources to help people, come out of hard situations with tools to be as successful as they wanted to be. But now I feel like I have a platform and I can use my voice to get the word out that, we're all created equal. And if we're going to live this thing, let's really live this thing. Let's really show love and let's treat people with respect. And so I'm using my platform now. People are like, wow, you're an advocate. And I didn't really think like, well, I'm not like, not like, some of these people who are going to lobbyists, which I have done. I have lobbied before, but it was like, wow, I have a new sense of purpose in using my voice to get the word out. I have people that follow me. And so that means I can spread information that could educate them and make them think about change happening. Like, just thinking about the Constitution again, when it was written, we were considered property. So why would we think that the Constitution is really there to protect us? I don't necessarily think it was there to protect us, and change needs to happen, but we all need to be as educated as possible. And so now I find that I'm using my voice to, just bring awareness. And I don't profess to know all of the answers, but I feel like maybe we can bring conversations to a diverse group of people who want change, and let's sit down at a table and figure out how we can make this happen. And so that's how I'm using my voice now.
Are you doing a lot of that virtually now?
Virtually, I've had conversations with close friends and people who I don't even know will come up to me and be like, I'm just so sorry. People of different racial backgrounds. I'm so sorry this is happening. Like, I know you're a great person. What can I do to help? And so it started conversations where I was just like, well, I don't know what you can do, but now I had to educate myself and say, now I know what you can do. You can write to your senators. You can write to, because they need to see not just African American, brown people, Black and brown people writing. They need to see everybody is in turmoil. Everybody wants change. We don't want, this to keep happening. And so now I have more, because I've been educating myself. I have a little bit more resources to offer and places for people to go. To at least start the conversation and see where we can go. And hopefully 2021 is different than 2020.
Yeah, me and you both, so
We're praying. We're praying.
Please, please. It's ending this year. I hear people saying, oh, I need to go back to 2019. Let's go through this. Let's ride this wave. Let's push through. Let's get through this and get it over with. I want it behind me. And I'm at the reality of so many, I won't say the reality, it's things that we know, and it's things that is happening day to day, but people have gotten so bold to not try to do it silent or behind your back or anything. They've gotten so bold with the things that they're doing. And it's like, really? Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't realize. I mean, it's like it's always been there. That racial tension, that hate for, like, wow, you hate me just because I'm brown. why? I'm a nice person. Like, why
Right.
would you do that? But I feel like it's also empowered a lot of us that, are saying like, if you can be that bold to be that nasty, I can be this bold to let you know I'm not like that, and that I want the best for your children, even though you're nasty as can be. I still want the best for your children. Your children, go to the same school as my kids. And so I feel like we need to be as bold and continue to fight evil with positive energy. So, like, if you just keep showering people with positive energy and saying, I'm not going to be nasty to you. Now,
Hmm.
I'm not going to have nobody punch me in my face. Let's be let's be clear. I'm
Right.
not going to
Right.
go that far. I need more Jesus for that. But, I need you to understand I'm not going to keep putting that nasty energy out there. I'm just going to educate myself, and we're going to get behind each other and try to get legislation changed, and sign petitions and do as much as we can to fight this negative energy with positive energy, and try to be as peacefully protesting and doing the right things as possible, and not feeding that negative energy.
Absolutely. One of the biggest thing that I've seen during the whole pandemic and everything is that a lot of Black people have started businesses, including
Yes,
kids. And I think that is
yes,
so amazing to go into
yes,
2021 with new ventures. Um,
yes,
I mean, we started a new decade with like, oh my God, what's going on with this world? Into, okay, we had to sit down for a minute and refocus. And it's amazing to see. Um, what are your thoughts on, seeing the kids becoming entrepreneurs and the parents just finding a solution just to survive day to day and it's turned into a business?
I think it's absolutely amazing. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I've seen so many more entrepreneurs, people starting shirt companies, people making masks and making a profit off of that, just being so resourceful. And we're such a resourceful people and such an innovative community where we take the lemons and we make lemonade. And I'm seeing that happen throughout, all over, all around, all throughout the country, the world. I think it's an amazing thing. I had an opportunity to talk to some young people who were just really excited about business, excited about their careers. And so we were able to talk to them about the business side of the music industry, and how, again, to have everything done on the up and up. And it's great to see virtually these things still happening, and the the desire for people to say, okay, I lost my job, but this is not going to happen again. So I'm going to start a business. And they started a business with that $1,200 that was given to a lot of people in the country. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited to see where it's going, and I really hope that they're able to sustain after this and just keep pushing through. And if you're able to push through doing this, you should be able to push through
Yes,
anything. You should be able to push through
yes,
anything to make it happen. So, I mean, I'm just really excited about that, and just can't wait to see all these different things that's going to pop up and flourish. And you said one word that
yes.
you used and what you just said was being resourceful. We have always been so resourceful, but we just didn't know how to get it, how to pull it up. We just didn't know what to do with it. And being in this place, it made us, because we're sitting in our own thoughts, we're sitting, meditating, praying, talking with family, and it's like it just started to just do this.
Yes. It's resources everywhere. Once
Yeah.
the pandemic hit, there's a lot of people who just had to create virtual resources, virtual classes. And
Yeah.
so now it's literally at our fingertips. You don't have to go anywhere but turn on your Zoom, and you
Yeah.
have resources. You have stuff all in your emails, because people have time to just put it all together. So I think, let's continue to take advantage of the classes, the free classes. There was free college educations
It
was happening,
was.
especially at the beginning of the pandemic. And so I just am happy that a lot of people did take advantage of it. They were sitting at home, but they were like, nothing's going to stop me. I can't. I can't just be stagnant. And I think it's great for those who are able to take advantage of it. And it's still time for people who, okay, you let 8 months go by, but let's end this 2020 with a bang, and get on some things that we said we wanted to do in the beginning of the year, because it's not over. life is still going on, and you still have an opportunity every day to, to start over and to do something that's going to help your future.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us today. But before we get out of here, I want you to let everyone know how they can reach you if they want to be a part of your community. They want to advocate on something, or they just want to connect with you in that way, and about your music, how they could get in touch with you for that.
Sure. I'm super excited to share with you guys. I came out with a new single entitled Trust, which is very timely. So it's on all digital musical platforms, Spotify, iTunes. You can download it. I have a website, www.lavinanichols.com. I am LaVina Nichols on IG, on Instagram, and Facebook. Please connect with me. The song it's doing so well. People are being inspired, and we need to be inspired. We need to know that trust in God is still there, no matter what is happening, especially with this upcoming election. So, make sure you check out the song. I would love to connect with you on Facebook, Instagram. I'm very connected to my community, and if I can do anything to support you guys and encourage you to be your best self, please reach out to me.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It looks a little bleak right now. Can't see how I'll ever make it out. A little lonely, a little afraid, but I fell in love with your consistent ways. I know you will. I know you can. So I place my life in your hands. I know you'll show up. I know you'll come through. That's why, Jesus, I will trust you. The pain's heavy, my heart is full, beating out of my chest, anxiety full. Can't see my way, don't know what to do, but you told me you love